Today marks a significant occasion. It highlights the moment I stopped listening to that little voice and embraced what life had to offer. Less than 6 months moving into my brand new home, I took a risk. I stepped back from everything that I've known and embraced uncertainty. This time last year, the Social Work Coaching Hub did not exist. It was not in motion. And my podcast was just scribbles on a notepad. Now I'm full-time entrepreneur, writing books and planners for social workers. My podcast reached number 20 or was in the top 20, I think, in globally last year. And I've had several social workers successfully complete my Pathfinder coaching program. I think that deserves an applause. I am super excited to be joined with you. If you are seeing me for the first time, my name is Lisa Ran, and I am a leadership development coach helping social workers prevent burnout and helping them create self-care plans that work just for them. And I'm hopping on today because today marks the day I stepped away from frontline practice. Ah, I can't believe I did that. I literally cannot believe that I did that. So I am super excited to be with you here live, and I want to just share with you my story of how I've gone from working full time as a manager, working in an A&I team, to now running my own business successfully and having the coaching hub. So, but my journey didn't start last year. My journey actually started in 2017, which is exciting because that is when I became a qualified coach, and I'd always had this dream of having a podcast. So I actually used to have a podcast before called Get That Good Life Podcast. And I was interviewing people across the world. I was doing well in the coaching business. I had a launch event. I had the works. And within 6 to 8 weeks, it all came crashing down. And I became a full-time carer. So everything stopped. And I mean everything. And all I wanted to do was make sure that I was wor- working in my purpose and actually working in something that I enjoy doing, which is coaching, supporting people, inspiring, right? That's what I know how to do. That's one of my gifts. So that's all I wanted to do, but I wasn't able to do that when I became a full-time carer, and everything just stopped, and I felt a bit lost, actually. I felt lost because I felt like, well, how am I meant to continue with my business now? How am I meant to continue following my dream now? So that was a very, very difficult time, a very difficult time. And it was a struggle. And I tried to still do a couple of podcast interviews here and there, but it didn't work. So if we fast forward to 2018, I had to return to work, of course. You know, you need the money rolling in. You can't have that when you're a full-time carer. And I remember I left my post after about 18 months, maybe a bit longer, because I wanted to pursue writing a novel. Now, I've written a children's novel called Halo Hattie. It's in the library. Yay, doing well. And I wanted to complete that book. And again, I was just giving myself another 6 months to say, come on, let's get this done. Let's follow the dream. Let's do this. But I didn't achieve it. I didn't actually finish writing this book in the time that I gave myself. And I was so disciplined. I was so disciplined in writing this book and making sure I was there every single day. And it wasn't paying off. And I didn't achieve it. So back to social work I went, right? So this is the second time I'm going back in. And it's not that I didn't enjoy social work. All I knew is that there was something inside of me that was meant for more. That's the only way that I can describe it. I was meant for something else. I was meant for something more. So I stepped back into social work, but not as I knew it. I actually stepped in as a team manager. and a full-time coach within the local authority, which is a very rare role to have. And it was such an exciting role because I could actually just take my time and create a coaching program for senior managers and for social workers. And I had the time to do exactly what a coach should be able to do in that type of environment. And it was a dream job. I really enjoyed it and made a difference in people's lives. And it was just a fantastic role to have. And then following the end of that contract, I was actually taken on as a manager within the same place as well. So that worked out really well because the people I was coaching was also people that I ended up managing, some of them. So that was really, really helpful and a great role to step into. But that contract came to an end because I was agency. And I walked into another team manager contract, which was assessment and intervention. And I see you on Instagram. Nice to see you all. Welcome. Now, when I walked into this other job, it was one of the most fulfilling team manager jobs I ever had. And that's mainly because I had the best team. We worked so well together. But there was something still tapping me on the shoulder every now and then. And the moment came when I realized that my values no longer aligned with where I was. And I had to do something about it because that tap on my shoulder was simply just, it was just getting louder. And I was feeling like I was, a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. And it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working. So I had to make a very difficult decision. And I really toiled about that. I toiled because I had such a great experience with my team. We were working so well together. I'd been a social worker for well over 10 years by that point. It was a really enjoyable experience. However, I did make that decision to step back, and today marks the day, January 11th, that I left my last social work position in a local authority. And I haven't looked back. I haven't looked back. It's been an enjoyable experience. I'm just going to give myself a round of applause. I got sound effects now. Got sound effects. We're stepping it up. We're stepping it up. So I decided, right, I'm not going to continue on that trajectory. I need to follow that voice, that tap on my shoulder. So I left without a plan. I left without an idea of exactly what I was going to do and how I was going to execute. All I know is that I could offer more than what I was doing in the role that was in. That's all I knew. So the first thing I did when I stepped out of frontline practice was start making some plans, start thinking about what exactly do I want to offer, who do I want to offer it to, where am I going to go with it, etc., etc. And one of the first things I did was set up my podcast. So on March 28th last year, Dear Social Worker Let's Talk podcast was set up. And the idea was offering support and personal development tips to social workers to support them in their role, because I realized there's a lot of talk about practice, there's a lot of talk about how people can make assessments better and thinking about ethics and all these things, which are all necessary for the work that we do. And I say we because I'm still registered, of course. But what I felt is what was missing is that side of social work where you feel like you can't talk to anyone else. You feel as if actually you're overwhelmed, you're anxious, and you don't know where to go or who to speak to. You don't want to raise it in supervision. So my podcast was going to be that space where you can come, you can feel safe, you can feel comfortable, you can feel heard and supported. And that's what I did. So I set up the podcast first thing. And then following that, came the social work coaching hub. So that will be what you can see on the screen if you're watching me on YouTube or LinkedIn. And the hub, the idea for the hub was to follow what I call the 4C model, which is offering coaching, conversation through the podcast, community through the membership group, and what I refer to as compendias, essentially books, journals, and planners for social workers. And last year I wrote 4. And if you don't know, now you're going to know. I wrote the Practice and Wellbeing Planner for Social Workers, That's on the screen. If you scan the code on the screen, you can have a look at that. If you're watching me on Instagram, it's socialworkcoachinghub.com/events, or just click the link in the bio. I wrote the self-care journal for social workers. I wrote the prayer journal, the annual prayer journal for Christian social workers, and I wrote the mood tracker journal as well, all in 1 year. So imagine I've been working for over 10 years in my role. I've got all these books and ideas and planners and journals in my head. They're all dotted down somewhere, but because I'm in full-time work, I'm managing a team, I didn't have the time or emotional capacity to lend to the creativity elements that I know I have inside of me, that tap on my shoulder. So I know that I did the right thing because I was able to help people just with these resources that I'd created. I've been invited to speak. I've hosted workshops. I've created workshops. I do group supervision for the Frontline charity. And essentially, I am having a way bigger impact. And because I'm having that impact, I now understand that the journey to being where I am today, it wasn't meant to be easy. It was meant to be a place of toil. It was meant to be a place of taking a risk and betting on myself, essentially, because the mission is creating a better world for social workers. That's my mission. Just if I can make someone's life just a little bit easier, a little bit more manageable, then I've done my job. I feel that I get my reward and I'm living in my purpose, and that's why I'm here. And that's why I want to share my story with you on this day, because this is the very day that I dusted my feet off. I handed back my ID badge and my laptop, and I set up my own laptop and my own business. And that's why I'm here. And if I didn't take that risk, most of you on Instagram wouldn't know my name. Most of the clients that I have, that I work with privately, they wouldn't even know my name, and they wouldn't have made the changes in their life that they've made today. So I'm telling you this story, one, because it's important I demonstrate that celebrating yourself is something that I do and something that I want to share with you, that I actually do that. Although I can't do it this evening, I have coaching. So I'm going to be doing it with you before I hop on coaching at 7 o'clock. But it's really important that we mark these moments, mark the moments in your life that matter. It matters that I made that decision because of the impact that I've had on so many other people. It matters that I've taken a risk on myself in order to do that. And it matters that I'm able to demonstrate to other people that if you've got something tapping you on the shoulder, if you know God is calling you to something higher, bigger, wider, at some point you're going to have to make the decision to say, you know something, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I have to do this. It is what I need to do. So I just want to share my story with you. I want to share my anniversary with you. Thank you for watching me. I want to let you know what I have to offer right now, which is we've got several events coming up for Social Work Coaching Hub. Get involved, be part of it. One of the major events that I'm doing this year, two major events, are the Empowering Social Workers Conference, 13th of April, which is a Saturday in London. You can get your tickets on Eventbrite. If you click the link in my bio, or if you scan the QR code on the screen, absolutely get involved. I would love to see you there. We're going to have panel speakers, guest speakers, stalls, you name it. It's going to be, I cannot wait. I'm not new to hosting events, by the way. I will post some pictures and some videos of events I used to do in the past. I'm definitely not new to hosting events. Pre-COVID, I used to host women empowerment events and business networking events. And I loved doing that. It's one of the things I love to do. And I wanted to incorporate that more into the Social Work Coaching Hub offer. So we've got the Empowering Social Worker Conference. The next thing we have is the Social Work Coaching Hub Awards. I'm so excited for that. I need my applause. Where's my applause gone? If I can get my applause up, I'll do a clap. I love these sound effects. I might do some more. The Social Work Coaching Hub Awards is going to be celebrating coaches who coach social workers, because they are integral to some of social workers remaining in the profession. They are integral to the support system for social workers, and I'll talk more about that as the year goes by. I'm also going to be celebrating social work online creators. So, being a podcast host myself, offering ebooks and books and planners and all of that jazz for social workers to make their life just a little bit easier. I'm going to be offering that also out to other online creators. I've noticed being part of this community, this online community for the past year, there are so many of us out there and they need recognition. They are contributing to social work. They're contributing to social workers' lives, whether it's through the employer or not, and they need to be recognized. So if you want to be involved in that, again, you can go straight to, let me think, my website, and you will be able to access tickets there. And also, if you just want to send me a message and say you want to access tickets, you can do. I am looking for exhibitors for that event. So if you would like to be part of the exhibitor crew at the conference or the award show, let me know. Get in contact with me. The other thing that I've launched, which is really exciting, is the Risk of Burnout quiz that launched this week. The Risk of Burnout quiz, the focus of that is to help social workers understand what is their risk to burnout. We have lots of conversations about preventing burnout or the recovery, but we don't have conversations about what are the individual characteristics, the personal approach to what your risk is to burning out. We know being social workers, we're always going to be exposed to trauma, and we have to take responsibility for what we know is ahead of us by understanding what is that risk, what contributes to that risk. So if you scan the code on my screen, if you're watching on LinkedIn or YouTube, if you are watching on Instagram, then just click the link in the bio and you can have access to a quiz which will give you an archetype at the end of it and give you some ideas on growth areas and things that you could be working on. It includes videos and downloads, etc. And if after that you would like to access some of the products and services that support you, dependent on your risk, low, medium or high, there's products and services for everyone within that area. So I would encourage you to definitely have a look at that and seeing the way in which it can help you this year. We're at the beginning of the year, so we can make it happen from now and have your self-care plan airtight, right? Lastly, you've got books. You've got books. I've mentioned all the books that I've written. I won't go through that again. You've got the QR code and you can go to Social Work Coaching Hub/books. And these are going to help you in practice, well-being, leadership and organization. And that's what I love to do. That's what I like to help with. So thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure talking about my journey with you and, you know, the places which I've been. And that most importantly, this is really about you taking a risk on you, taking a risk on the gifts that God has given you, taking a risk on your capabilities, taking a risk on your vision. If you can see it, that means you can achieve it. Sometimes we worry too much about the how, and sometimes the how and the fixer in us is what actually keeps us back from stepping into what is for us. And the thing is, sometimes what we feel like is for us is actually for somebody else. So, for example, being a social worker isn't just about you. It's about the people you can impact. It's about the people that you can meet that you would never have met if you weren't a social worker. So it's the same principles that stepping into your purpose is exactly that. It gives you an opportunity to actually meet people you've never met before and transform their lives. Sometimes it's just not about you. God bless you. Thank you for celebrating with you. And I will be back with another live soon. Take care. I've been Lisa Ann Edwards. I am the founder of Social Work Coaching Hub and host of podcast Dear Social Worker, Let's Talk. I will see you very soon. And remember, you're not alone.